Good afternoon, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Oh, no, I'm British, so even by British standards, that was terrible. Let's try again. Merry Christmas. Thank you, that's much better. Welcome to this afternoon's organ recital, an annual tradition here at Washington National Cathedral. I think this is probably one of the first times, one of the very few times where there's been actually three organists for this recital. And all of us, we're raring to go. We're all a bit sleep deprived, of course, with many services in the last few days, but we're looking forward to being with you for the next hour and playing some festive music and with some well-known tunes. I'm going to introduce you now to our assistant organist, Mina Marie Jelinek, who joined us in November of last month. And I'm going to hand you over now. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here this afternoon. I'd just like to speak a little bit about the piece that I'm going to play for you this afternoon. It's by Olivier Messiaen, French organist and teacher at the Paris Conservatory. You can hear elements of this man's richness as a person, the richness of his faith, the richness in how serious he was about his music, his composition, and indeed his performance as well. We hear this descending theme in the beginning, and it can be heard throughout. And actually, the title of this piece, it translates to God with us, which is a translation of the word Emmanuel, the name Emmanuel, which Jesus Christ, of course, is given. And we hear not only the seriousness of Messiaen and what his faith means to him, but also we hear how he has this wonderful gift of seeing colors through his musical harmonies. And I think throughout this piece, you can definitely, we're surrounded by these wonderful colors, this rose window and the colors all around us. And I think this music really reflects so wonderfully this monumental cathedral in which we sit today. And as all things Christmas related, any good Christmas ends with a French toccata, and this piece ends with a nice toccata. So I hope you enjoy this as Messiaen's Dieu parmi nous.
Wonderful Messiaens du parmi nous. Before we move any further into the program, it's our normal custom to give a little tour of the organ. Of course, those who have been here the last year or two, actually, maybe last year, will note that this is not a pipe organ. We're very pleased that the Walker Technical Company have provided us with this instrument for the duration of the grand organ's rebuild, which was due to be completed. It's due to be completed in 2029. But in the meantime, we're very grateful to have this instrument, which is actually a replica of the new instrument that will be arriving with us in a few years' time. It was Mozart who once described the organ as the king of instruments, and the organ, this organ in particular, is a real kaleidoscope, has a real kaleidoscope of different sounds. With the help of my colleague Mina Marie, we're going to give you a brief tour of some of the wonderful and interesting sounds on this instrument. So I think we'll start with some flutes. As I said before, it really is the king of instruments, and it's almost like having an orchestra at your fingertips. So let's hear some flutes, please. Next, we're going to talk about what we call foundations. Now, these are the things that really, they are the foundations of the organ. This is what really underpins everything, especially for hymn singing and other pieces of repertoire that we might play. We're going to hear three different pitches of stops here. The 8-foot foundation, which is what we'd normally hear, which is standard pitch. And then if we add the 16-foot, which is, the pipe is twice the length, it creates a more rumbly, lower, sort of distinctly low sound. And then we're going to add the 4-foot, which is half the length of an 8-foot stop, and that sounds 1 octave above the 8-foot. And then to crown everything off, we're going to add what we call a mixture, which is a selection of pipes which sort of really add a beautiful sort of roundness and a beautiful sound on top of everything. Now, the thing that really separates the organ from the piano is, of course, the use of the feet. So we're going to hear now a few sounds with the pedals. Now, we actually have a lower selection of stops on the pedals, and these are called 32-foot stops. Some are quieter than others, and some are much louder, and I'll hand it over to you. And then we hear the really sort of loud 32-foot stop, which sometimes sounds like a pneumatic drill. Impressive. Moving on from that, again, on the theme of orchestral sounds, especially on this organ, we have a really amazing plethora of string sounds, which imitate the sound of a string orchestra. So how about we just have a few different sounds? Thank you. wonderful. I think that's one of my favourite sounds, and something that is, I think, a sound that's really associated very closely with this cathedral and indeed the original organ, and it's something we're going to retain when the new organ comes back. Now, more orchestral sounds. We have a division on the organ which is called the solo, and it's, as its name suggests, full of sounds that we might use to solo things out. So we have a clarinet, and we also have a French horn. And then getting a little louder, we have two tubas on the organ. One is just a regular tuba, and then the other one is called a tuba mirabilis, which is much louder. Now we're about to hear the really loud artillery of the organ. We have two very loud trumpet stops on the organ. One is called the trumpet en chamade. In fact, they're both trumpet en chamades, but a trumpet en chamade is basically a horizontal facing pipe. So you wouldn't want to be in front of it. The first one is literally called trumpet en chamade, and it is located over here. And then for those of you closer to the west door, we have what's called the state trumpet, which we might use to greet a procession at the back of the cathedral. We then have a division aptly called the bombard division, which is a selection of French-style reeds. And finally, if we put everything, all of this together, it sounds something like this. And that's a very brief tour of the organ. We could go on for a long time, but I'm aware that many of you would want to get back to your Christmas dinner. So thank you very much to Mina Marie for that wonderful demonstration. One of the things that we're very proud of at the Cathedral is the creation recently of an organ scholarship. The organ scholarship is a fixed-term position for 2 years, and it's a role that is designed to really polish off and fine-tune skills for young aspiring organists to go on to other positions at different cathedrals or large churches. Our current organ scholar is Ariana Corbin, who has been with us since July of 2024. And I'm going to hand the microphone over to her now, and she's going to introduce the next piece.
Hello, thank you all so much for being here. This is one of our most greatly anticipated annual traditions, and we're so delighted that you've chosen to spend a little time to hear some organ music, which is not something that most people do on Christmas Day, but we're very, very happy that you're here. So Mina Marie did a really great job of showcasing kind of the big French tradition of organ playing, which is very important for sacred music and for this cathedral as well. I'm going to play some nice homespun American music for you, which is also very well suited to this instrument. I'm going to play two pieces by women composers. Thankfully, not all composers are men, as you know. The first piece I will play is written by a living composer. Again, not all composers are dead. Her name is Rebecca Groom-Teveld. She's originally from Seattle, I believe, and she currently resides in Oklahoma. Very prolific writer, both for organ music and also some choral music, I believe. Very well respected in this church tradition that we are all in. And this piece she has written is a set of variations on actually a theme by a much older composer, Samuel Scheidt, who was an early 17th century German organist. And this was a melody that he wrote during his life, and she composed this wonderful set of variations suitable for Christmas, which I will play. And the second piece I will play is also by a woman. I know it looks like a man's name, but Ella Norton Gibbs is actually a woman, or was a woman, I should say. And she was really a fixture in the church scene in Alabama. She worked for some time in Birmingham and in other places. Again, a very, very prolific person, very well respected for what she did. And that piece is In the Bleak Midwinter. And for that piece, the first time you'll hear that very well-known melody, I'll actually be playing it with my feet. You'll notice we have some fancy organ shoes that we have to use to play the pedals, as Mina Marie showed us. So you'll hear the melody first kind of down in the feet, and then it'll kind of meander throughout other various places. So I hope you enjoy.
Wonderful. At this point in the program, we're going to take a collection now in aid of the Cathedral's music. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that before we continue. As I mentioned earlier, we are in the middle of a very large project to rebuild the cathedral organ to the cost of $15 million. So currently the Pipes are all on vacation in Connecticut with the amazing organ building firm called Foley Baker. And actually just in the last couple of months, the organ has started to slowly come back, I'm pleased to say. In the depths of the cathedral, the blowers have now been installed, or are at least partially installed, so we're really excited about this. It's an amazing project, so anything you can give is most generously, most gratefully appreciated. Sorry, long day. We also have many other things going on in the cathedral. Our cathedral is unique in terms of American cathedrals. Like many of our counterparts in the United Kingdom, we have a cathedral choir and comprising of choristers, and they attend two cathedral schools in the Cathedral Close, National Cathedral School and St. Albans. And as part of that, we have evensong 5 days a week in the great choir behind me. It's such a unique tradition and something we really treasure here, so anything you can do is gratefully appreciated. Good. And yeah, I'm going to talk now about the next three pieces on the program, which I'm going to play. And I realise now I failed to mention who I am. My name is Edward Hughes. I'm the Associate Director of Music and organist here at the Cathedral. This year you'll probably see me in front of the choir conducting more than playing the organ, but I'm very pleased to be playing for you today. The first piece I'm going to play is by the German composer Johannes Brahms. It's part of his 11 chorale preludes, Es ist ein Ross entsprungen, which is based on a 15th century German carol about a rose blooming, and it really is connected to the Incarnation and very appropriate for this time of year, and it's probably a very well-recognized organ piece. And following that, we're going to go back to France, but to an earlier time, to the French Baroque period, a Noel. French Baroque composers composed these Noels based on French tunes, and they're full of playful character and interesting sounds, and they've got a very improvisational quality to them. And that's by the French composer Louis-Claude Daquin, who was a Parisian-based organist. And then after that, I'm going to go back to my native England for a piece by John Ireland, he was English, called The Holy Boy. And that's a beautiful tune which, again, utilizes many of the strings on this instrument. So I'll start with the Brahms. Thank you very much for your generosity. Now, finally, it wouldn't be this Christmas Day organ recital without a bit of Handel's Messiah. So, how's your singing? We're going to perform for 4 hands and 4 feet, Handel's Messiah. And so this is the very last thing on the program. And so just before we sign off, just to say thank you for coming. Please do keep supporting us in this wonderful place, and a very Merry Christmas. Get home safe. Thank you so much.